Hi there, smart drivers. Talking to you about traffic signs. Traffic signs are to driving what instructions are to an IKEA cabinet. Only when things go wrong do we pay attention to traffic signs. We're going to give you information about traffic signs that will make you a safer, smarter driver. And these are the kinds of signs that you're going to see on the highway. This recommended speed of 15 miles an hour, and it's telling you that the road is curvy and which direction the roadway is going. And this is going to help you out at night to keep yourself safe and to be able to navigate and route plan, figure out where intersections are, figure out the road is going to the right or going to the left or those types of things. Road signs are going to be within close physical proximity to the roadway, and as well they're reflective, so you'll be able to see them at night when you're driving. For those of you new to Smart Drive Test, my name is Rick August. I was a truck driver in the 1990s. I hauled freight between Ontario, Canada and the United States. I did make it out to British Columbia a few times. We hauled LTL freight, which is less than load, which is basically 12 or 15 drops on a trailer, and drove team. That was interesting, and it's not something that I recommend. Because one person's sleeping, one person's driving, one person's sleeping, and we did 3 back-to-backs from Toronto to Vancouver, Vancouver back to Toronto, back to Vancouver, back to Toronto, back to Vancouver, back to Toronto, and I got out of that truck, and you know, it's like 3,200 miles each leg of that, so that was 6 times, so like 18,000 miles. Yeah, I couldn't really see straight, so that was the beginning of my trucking career. I became a licensed commercial driving instructor in 1997, earned my doctorate in legal history in 2006 from the University of Melbourne. While I was going to the University of Melbourne, I drove buses for Greyhound and one of the regional bus lines there. 2015, I started the online YouTube channel, and it has been wildly more successful than I could have ever imagined. We're sneaking up on 350,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff happening. We're rebuilding the website, offering great courses, defensive driving, pass your driver's test, first-time course package, which helps out drivers to pass the driver's test, earn their license, and become safer, smarter drivers, or start a career as a truck or bus driver. So I'm excited about all of that and helping people out with their driver's license, because despite the world in which we live of urban planners and we hate cars, driving is awesome and driving is a lot of fun. Have a look at these videos. Why get a dash cam? You can find these resources down in the description. And mastering shoulder checking, and the number one most common error on a driver's test is not shoulder checking. Not shoulder checking is to driving what not checking to see if a weapon is loaded is to gun safety. Why on any planet would you drive a 2,500 pound vehicle at speed, change directions, and not check in your blind areas to see if there's somebody there, okay? Vulnerable road users and those types of things. And ABS, always be scanning. And this is why I advocate shoulder checking, because it causes you to move your head and to scan and looking. And driving changes. The blind areas around your vehicle change depending on the direction that you're going, the direction that your vehicle is pointed, and the driving environment in which you are finding yourself. So shoulder checking, observing is one of the most critical skills of safe driving. Signs convey meaning in 3 ways. The shape of the sign, as was mentioned at the beginning with stop signs all over the world are octagon in shape. They are 8-sided. And they are red backgrounds with the letters stop on them. And if the difference between a 2-way stop sign and a 4-way stop sign, 2-way stop signs will not have anything underneath the stop sign. 4-way stop signs, all-way stop signs, 3-way stop signs will have a little sign underneath the stop sign that will indicate what kind of a stop sign it is. The color of the colors used on the sign: yellow backgrounds, black lettering, orange backgrounds, construction signs. These are ones that I missed in terms of talking about classifications of signs. Temporary conditions, construction work zones are orange backgrounds with black lettering and symbols thereon. And the words and the symbols, these are the 3 ways that traffic signs convey information, and they are reflective, as I said, so you can see them at night. The light from your headlights and the lights from the traffic shine on the signs and cause them to reflect and give, so that they're easily seen at night and in low lighting conditions. Road sign classifications: regulatory signs, school signs, cautionary signs, construction signs, lane control, lane usage signs, and object marker signs. Object marker signs belong to the cautionary sign classifications, and object marker signs mark fixed objects along the roadways, trees, curbs, traffic calming areas, which is the new buzzword in urban planning. Traffic calming. It just sounds so mellow. It sounds like I'm sitting beside an ocean and I'm just in Zen, listening to the waves crashing against the shore. Traffic calming, instead of cars banging over speed bumps in a suburb area. Yeah, traffic calming. This is what that is. All right, so different kinds of traffic signs. Object marker signs are the most prolific signs on the roadway. Pass left or right, or you can pass on either the left or the right. Traffic islands are another place that these are where you can find these. And for larger vehicles, if you're driving an SUV, you're driving in a Suburban, you're pulling a trailer, you're taking the boat to the lake, those types of things, these object marker signs become important so that you do not strike fixed objects along the roadway. Regulatory signs, stop signs, speed signs, not in the province of British Columbia. Railway signs, for the most part, in Canada are not regulatory signs, but in the United States, railway signs are regulatory signs. Brake check signs for big trucks and anybody pulling a trailer more than 10,000 pounds have to stop at a brake check area, and these are not in the rest of Canada. In Saskatchewan, it's flat. It's very flat. But here in British Columbia, we have brake check signs. In Alberta, they will have them. West Virginia, they will have them. As you know, the nickname for West Virginia is the Mountain State. Cautionary signs. Some are relevant, some not so much. Height signs. If you're renting a U-Haul, you need to know that the maximum height of your vehicle and its load can be no more than 13 feet 6 inches or 4.15 meters. Okay, some are relevant. Curve to the right, curve to the left. During the daytime, it's not really a big deal because you can see the roadway, but at night you cannot, and these will become very relevant. Intersection signs, we do not take these with the gravity that we should, okay? Figure out where intersections are and locate them. Map and track road users at the intersection, because more than 40% of crashes happen in and at intersections. Know that. Larger vehicles, destination signs become important. How far is it to the next town, the next city? Okay. Overhead signs, lane designation signs, construction signs, match the speed of the flow of traffic after you get your driver's license. I know that I cannot say that legally, but I do counsel you to keep up with traffic flow to stay more predictable on the roadways, but looking for traffic signs when you're driving, getting the information from those, and being more predictable on the roadways rather than just following what other traffic is doing. Lane usage signs, these are generally above the lane that they're marking, okay? Going to the left, going straight through, or going left only if you are in that lane. And if it's kind of like missing your exit, are in the wrong lane and you can only turn left, don't try and force your way back to the right if you intended that you wanted to go right instead of going left and you got in the wrong lane, okay? Because you may get rear-ended, and this is the #1 crash in North America. We talk about rear-end crashes a lot. And maintain that 3 to 4 second following distance in front and stay back from other traffic 1 vehicle length when you're stopped in traffic. Mile marker signs, as I talked about previously, mile marker signs line up with the exits, and this will make you a safer, smarter driver on highways and on freeways. Know what your exit number is, that your exit is exit 92. If you're at exit 85 and the numbers are going up, you know you have 7 miles before you have to get off on the interstate, and you're not going to stop. You just get up and you're like, oh, there's exit 82. I'm getting off the freeway, the interstate. When you're doing your navigation, when you're doing your route planning, figure out what the exit number is. These will keep you safe. The exit numbers and the mile markers are one and the same, except for the state of New York. In the Empire State, the mile markers and the exit numbers are not the same. So just figure out what the exit number is, and that way when you go past exit 21 and you're going to exit 25 and the numbers are going up, you know that you're watching the numbers and you exit 24, okay, the next exit I'm getting off. And it's more advanced warning than 100 feet or 500 feet when you're driving, and it'll keep you safer while you're driving on the highways and state roads, the freeways and whatnot. Good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Traffic signs come in classifications. Railway speed signs, do not enter signs are all regulatory signs and are the law, because the root word of regulatory is regulation, which means the law. Know that when you're driving and have a look for those traffic signs and obey them. Cautionary signs tend to be diamond in shape, yellow background, black lettering, and black symbols thereon. And some are important, some not so much. When you're driving at night, cautionary signs will give you indication of which way the road is going and where the road is going, and determine where intersections are. And these are the two important things when you're driving at night to be safer, smarter, and to stay awake and to stay on the roadway. So second to following other traffic at night, look for the road signs along the roadway, because for the most part, utility poles, not so much, but traffic signs for sure are near the roadway and will help you to navigate and route plan when you're driving along the roadways. And what I mean by navigating is navigating and figuring out where the roadway is, but also to route plan, because you can predict where the roadway, whether it's going to curve to the right or left, or whether it's going to end, or those types of things. So know all of that. Types of traffic signs are school signs, and unfortunately, school signs are the one type of traffic sign that is not standardized. We still have some of the old blue school signs. They're now becoming neon green, and unfortunately, they've taken on all kinds of shapes as opposed to just the one standard pentagon shape, which is the shape of the house you used to draw when you were a kid in kindergarten and grade school and whatnot. So school signs, and then you have lane designation signs, usually overhead the lane and tell you which lane you need to be in and whether you can turn right, turn left, or go straight. Action permitted, action not permitted. Green circle is action permitted. And these signs can be a little bit confusing, because sometimes the action that is permitted is telling you what's not permitted. So therefore, if it has an arrow to the right and says you can turn right according to action permitted, it means in most cases that you cannot turn left. If you turn left, you're going to get into a traffic ticket or something like that. So action contrary to the sign. There you go. So know that in terms of action permitted and action not permitted. And these are mostly used when parking in cities, and in the afternoon they will eliminate the parking during rush hour to improve traffic flow through the city. And they used to do this in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and they do it in other places in large metropolitan cities and those types of things. So know that. Evan, the reason signs are different shapes is that if a stop sign is covered by snow, or you just see the back of a sign, you will recognize that that is why all octagon shapes are stop signs. Yes, Evan, you are absolutely correct, my friend. Shape definitely has meaning for traffic signs and allows you to glean the information quickly, to get the information from the sign quickly. And this is why stop signs, as you said, are all octagon. They're 8-sided. Yield signs are an inverted triangle, and I know that there are people that get really upset when I post that question and they get it wrong. There's no such thing as an inverted triangle. I don't see too many triangles that sit on their point. So in my mind, it's an inverted triangle, is a yield sign. And then, of course, railway signs are the crossbuck. Rectangular signs tend to be regulatory signs for the most part. And this is what's confusing about school signs, is the fact that they are pentagon in shape, but now we're getting into confusion about different kinds of school signs, and I've seen them take on the shape of cautionary signs where they're diamond in shape. I've also seen them rectangle in shape, so it's not consistent in terms of school signs, which is unfortunate, because we need to make these signs more consistent for people driving in these school zone areas, and that it is clear information that they're receiving, so that they're not conflicting with pedestrians who are also sharing the road space. Lane designation signs are generally a white arrow on a black background. In North America, this is not the same in Europe and other places in the world for sure. Destination signs are green with white lettering. Campsites, recreation areas, tourist sites and those types of things tend to be brown backgrounds with white lettering. And one other one is green. Hospitals are blue with white lettering, and other emergency services like police and paramedic services and whatnot tend to be in there with the hospital signs. Now, one of my favorite traffic signs that very few people know anything about are mile marker signs. Very few people know what mile marker signs are. And if you knew what mile marker signs were and you looked up the number of the mile marker on a freeway or a highway, because on all state roads in the US, they all have mile markers, and if people would look up the mile marker number, it would make you a safer, smarter driver on the highway and freeway, because you're not looking for Smith Ave exit in Cincinnati and trying to get off at Smith Ave exit. Rather, Smith Ave exit, for example, would be exit 375, which is mile marker 375. And if you're traveling southbound and you're at 370, you know that you have, well, and the numbers are going up, obviously, and you're at 370, you know that you have 5 miles down the road that you're going to get off the freeway. So you're going to get over to the right and you're going to get in the proper lane. So knowing mile markers is going to not only save you a lot of grief in terms of route planning and navigation, but it's also going to make you safer on the freeways and highways, because you know exactly which exit number you're getting off. Now, I know that GPS and map apps and those types of things have made driving tons and heaps safer, but most people don't know how far 100 feet is or 500 feet is. I mean, saying that in terms of distance, and I know many of the questions that I put on the community tab, people will say, oh, you need to signal 100 feet before your turn and those types of things. It doesn't mean anything. Distance when you're in a moving vehicle is like asking how long is a piece of string. People simply don't know. So you need to measure in time. So this is why mile markers are so valuable in terms of keeping yourself safe on highways and freeways, because you know that it's 5 miles up the road. Every freeway, every interstate in the United States and in Canada have mile markers. All interstates and freeways and state roads have mile markers on them, and they line up with the exit numbers. The only state that doesn't is New York State, because the Empire State likes to be different. But you can still go on Google, you can still go on your favorite map app, and you can figure out what the exit number is, and that will help you out, and that will keep you safe when you're driving on the interstates, the state roads, and highways and freeways in and around the world. So know that when you're driving, all right? Look far down the road. You can see the merge lane. You know you have to move over into the other lane. It's a little bit like mile marker signs. That too will help you to be more predictable on the roadways. Traffic signs are to driving what instructions are to an IKEA cabinet. Only when you drag it home from IKEA and you put it on the kitchen floor and you take it all apart and all the pieces and the fasteners and whatnot, and you got your little handy dandy screwdriver and your little Allen wrench, and you're starting to put it together, and then you're like, wait a minute, that shelf is not level, and the casters are wrong, and it's wonky. And then you get the instructions out and you're like, oh my God, and it's all wrong, and you got to take it apart and put it back together. That's what's going on. So, this is what traffic signs are when you're driving, right? It's only when because most people, not just me, I mean, we do get into this mode every now and again when we're driving, that we're just following other traffic. And just following other traffic every now and again will get you in trouble. So make sure that you're paying attention to the traffic signs and the road signs, especially on your driver's test, because if you haven't practiced in and around the test area where you're taking your test, traffic signs, you speed for any length of time, that's going to get you into trouble. Daniel, learned a lot from you. Daniel from Uganda. Thank you, my friend, and welcome from Uganda to the Smarter Driver live stream. We're talking about traffic signs, and obviously there in Uganda you're going to have slightly different traffic signs, but they're still more or less intuitive, right? They're standardized, and when I go to Europe and drive there, you can understand what the traffic signs are. You know what the speed bumps are, the speed signs, the stop signs, the roundabout signs. They're all more or less the same. They're different colors and whatnot, but it's a standardized system, and it's the same thing in North America. The signs are standardized and classified, which allows you to glean the information from the traffic signs and keeps you safe on the roadway. At night, traffic signs will help you to navigate and route plan where the roadway is going, because this is one of the biggest challenges with driving at night, is figuring out where the roadway is actually going, right? Left, right, straight, does it end? Is there an intersection? If you can figure out which direction the roadway is going by the cautionary signs that are telling you it's curves to the right, curves to the left, or it's coming to an end, or there's an intersection, because remember, 40% of crashes happen at intersections. So keep keep yourself safe, right? By identifying intersections, locating intersections, tracking and mapping road users at the intersections where most crashes happen. All of that will help you out. School signs. School signs are the one type of sign that is not standardized. They are pentagon for the most part. Pentagon is basically the house that you used to draw when you were in grade school, where they have two people on them, not to be confused with park signs. Park signs are generally cautionary signs. Yellow background, black lettering, black symbols thereon. Park signs will have one person on them, sometimes chasing a ball. All school signs have two people on them. And the way that I remember that, E and I and E, go walking, the first vowel does the talking kind of thing. That's the way that I remember that, with that little crazy mnemonic when I was learning English grammar when I was in high school and whatnot. So that's the way that I remember school signs. If there's two people on the sign, then it's a school sign. The pentagon with the two people on it is just school in area. It's not the actual school speed zone sign that indicates a speed that you have to drive. You have to have the speed underneath the school sign for it to be designated a school speed zone sign. And we have a high school here on one of the main thoroughfares through the suburb, and I follow people past the school all the time. It's a high school, and they slow down to 30 kilometers an hour, 20 miles an hour. However, it is not a school speed zone. It's just a school without any speed zone in front of the school. There's none around the high school at all. Whereas many public schools will actually have speed zones. So know that, just watch for the signs, be on the lookout, but if you're in doubt, just slow down, okay? Do know that for the purposes of a driver's test, if you speed in a school zone, that is an automatic fail on a driver's test. Alanis, I need to memorize school walk signs. Yes, and thank you for reminding me of that, Alanis, that there are school crosswalks that are marked by a regulatory sign that's white background, black lettering, and black symbols thereon. And again, it will have two people on it that will tell you that it is a school crosswalk. And the high school that I was mentioning that does not have a school speed zone here just around the corner from where I live, there's three crosswalks that all have those signs in front of the school. So know that. Epic, my friend, school signs come in two different colors here in the United States, black on yellow and the neon green version. Sadly, driver's education material only focuses on the neon green version, not black on yellow. Yes, and in other places, Epic, they still have the old blue school signs with a blue background and white lettering or symbols thereon. The only information that is consistent on school signs is that there are two people on the school sign as opposed to just one, which is going to be on park signs. There's going to be just one person. And in many cautionary signs that are warning you of parks, the single person oftentimes is chasing a ball as well. So that's the other piece about it. Traffic signs, we're talking about traffic signs. We're talking about being a safer, more predictable driver on the roadway. Traffic signs, make sure that when you're preparing for your driver's test, that you're practicing in and around the test center where you're going to be taking your test, and figure out what traffic signs are there. Where are the merges that you may have to negotiate on your driver's test? Figure out where the school zones are, because as I said, on a driver's test, if you speed in a school zone, that is an automatic fail on your driver's test. So figure that out. Figure where the churches are. Figure out where there are changes in speed. If you're driving around the area, you can't go into the test center obviously during the daytime, but you can go in after hours, or you can go on the weekends. If they don't want you in there after hours, or they don't want you in the test center on weekends, they will lock it up. There will be a gate. But there are a lot of places, a lot of test centers, they will leave it open so that you can go in and practice after hours, and you can practice on the weekends. But don't go in during the daytime, because they're conducting driver's tests and you'll just be interfering with other people that are already there. But it is critical as part of your preparation for your driver's test that you are driving in and around the test center at the time of day that you're going to be taking your test. So for example, if your test is on Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning, make sure that during the week at 10 o'clock in the morning, you're driving in and around the test center, and you're going out kind of 5 minutes and coming back 5 minutes, out 5 minutes and coming back, and figuring out the weird things and the anomalies, the things that could potentially trick you up. Changes in speed, merge signs, school signs, church signs, parks with designated speeds. For example, here where I live, we have a park here that has a designated park speed that is in effect from sunup to sundown. Sunrise to sunset, that 30 km/h speed limit is in effect when you're driving in and around the park here. And if you speed in that park speed zone, that is an automatic fail on a driver's test. And it's there, and it's tricky because it's a cautionary sign telling you there's a park there, but underneath there's a little regulatory sign telling you the speed limit. Know that, and practice in and around the test center where you're going to be taking your test, and look at the signs, glean the information, and incorporate it in your driving so that you can be successful on passing your driver's test. Epic, another sign to look out for in California, they do not have mile marker signs. Instead, they use post mile signs, which mean these are the white on black signs, shaped like a mile marker reset on county lines. Yes, so it's still a mile marker, but it's a different shape, different color. What Epic is saying there, that it's white lettering on a black background as opposed to white lettering on a green background, which is what these mile marker signs are in most other places. It's going to be white lettering on a green background. And usually it's a rectangular shape, or it's part of the exit number is going to be the mile marker, right? And of course, obviously in the United States, it's in miles, and that's why it's called a mile marker. Here in Canada, it's in kilometers. And as well, you can figure out how long it's gonna take you to your destination. You can get your kids in the back and get them involved in your trip and get them doing some mathematics, right? How long is it gonna take us to drive 120 miles if we're doing 60 miles an hour, right? And they figure that out in their head, okay, we got 2 hours to go before we get to where we're going. Everybody have a great night, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. All the best. Bye now.